Yes, yes, yes. Welcome back to another edition of Go Long Live. I'm your host, Barry Long the second, not the first, not the third. I am the second. We are live on CoachellaValley.com. We are live on today'scalifornia.com. We are live on today'scanada.com. We are live all over the Twitterverse, all over the metaverse, all over the universe. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. Please go and like or subscribe to the page, CoachellaValley.com on Twitter or on Facebook. And please also go to Today's California on Twitter or Facebook and subscribe. We talk about the local events from time to time, but mostly we talk about the national sports stories that are hot and popping right now. And there are a lot of sports stories to get to today, especially after yesterday. I know a lot of you saw what happened with Antonio Brown. We will talk about that. Crazy, as I like to call him, Antonio Clown, and because he's always out there doing something. We will talk about that. We will also talk about 8 of these football games that we saw yesterday, break them down, talk a little bit about the Monday night game that's coming on tonight. Now, before we get into Antonio Brown, I just want to say Happy New Year to everybody. Hopefully you all are sticking to your New Year's resolutions. I'm not really big year to year on New Year's resolutions, but this year I have started my resolution, and it is to work out every single day. It is to go outside and run. So I've been running a mile the last 3 days. I've also been doing only push-ups and sit-ups, okay? I'm working out without weights. I'm trying to do the whole Jesus workout like the Babylonians because they didn't have gyms. Jesus didn't have gyms. I'm sure he had a big old rock that he probably, did squats with, but there were no weights back in the Babylonian days. So, but I am stuck. I have been sticking to my resolution. Hopefully I am in day 3 in. Let's see. I'll continue to keep you guys posted and see if I'm able to stay in for longer than 3 days. All right, now let's get to Antonio Clown. So yesterday, during the Bucks and Jets game, the Jets were up by 2 touchdowns, and Antonio Brown, who has been doing a lot this season, with the whole fake vaccination card, he was suspended for 3 games. He came back after being suspended for 3 games. And he stunned on him last week. Last week he had 10 catches. He basically was the reason that the Bucks won last week. Now, this week, he's been complaining about his ankle injury that's been lingering this entire season. He also did not practice on Thursday or Friday leading up into the game. We know that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got hit hard with their COVID protocols. They have like 20 guys out missing. They had some issues with a couple of their players who couldn't fly with the team. Even though they were vaccinated and they were COVID positive, they couldn't fly with the team. So they ended up flying separately. They missed their plane because their pilot had COVID issues. So they ended up coming to the game right on time. We know Bruce Arians had COVID all week. He's the head coach. He was finally able to be with the team and coach the team on Sunday. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have had a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes as far as with the team and COVID. But we saw Antonio Brown. He was asked to re-enter the game yesterday after having about 3 catches, and he told Bruce Arians no, that he was injured and that he didn't feel like he was healthy enough to enter the game. And when Bruce Arians asked him a second time to go back into the game, he said no. Then Bruce Arians told him, "Get your ass off my sidelines." Then that's what we saw transpire, where Mike Evans, right here is a picture of Mike Evans talking to Antonio Brown, trying to convince him to not take off his helmet, not take off his shoulder pads, keep your jersey on. Bro, I need you. They're in their wide receiver fraternity. They're in that wide receiver room together. And Mike Evans, despite him being a different build type wide receiver, he's a bigger guy, he's a possession receiver. He still looks up to Antonio Brown. And they have a very good relationship. So Mike Evans tries to calm him down. He does not want to calm down. Then my man proceeds to basically take off everything. Here he is. And yes, he does have pants on. It looks like he's not wearing pants there, but he does. He takes off everything, and he throws his gloves to the crowd. He throws his helmet on the ground, his jersey on the ground, but he gives his undershirt to the crowd, and he does jumping jacks as he proceeds to walk to the locker room. And I mean, he looks ridiculous in that picture right there. There's some video up on Twitter, all over YouTube. If you want to go out and check it out. We're not trying to get sued. So, because we are live on CoachellaValley.com and today'scalifornia.com. All right. So Antonio Brown does this, and I hear a lot of people going crazy all over the media, all over Twitter, saying, "Oh, this man needs help. He needs mental help. He needs a mental evaluation. My man needs rehab. My man needs something. And he might very well be true. But what I want to say is that none of us are licensed professionals. And yeah, Antonio Brown, there may be a little bit of something to everybody saying that he has CTE because that Vontaze Burfict hit that he took was so vicious, because the way his arms curled up, the way he was out for a long time, and other hits that he's taken, and the path that he took to get to the NFL. He played for Central Michigan. There's a picture of him in Central Michigan. now, CTE aside, I find this to be very foretelling of the future. I mean, my man took his. This might not be a CTE issue, is what I'm saying. Okay, this might be a CTE issue. It might not be, but who are we? We're not licensed professionals. This guy has been a problem ongoing, probably since before college. But anybody that takes their collegiate team photo like this is all about themselves. Center of attention, as Ann Segersma says. Shout out to Ann. She just commented live on Facebook. But yeah, center of attention is what it is a lot. Now, he may have CTE. There's a lot of players walking around playing football right now that have CTE that we don't know, or we may know. But at the end of the day, I think this is also not just a CTE problem. This is an EGO problem. This is an ego problem. And we've seen Antonio Brown year after year, team after team, have these kind of situations, these blow-ups, these flare-ups, not only with the coaches, but also with the quarterbacks, with the front office, with his baby mama, with all types of people. So at the end of the day, yeah, I think that maybe some of this could be, some mental health, some CTE, but ultimately I think this is more EGO than anything. And I think he just got pissed off. And as the kids say, IDGAF, you know what that means. I think he's more like that. I think he just doesn't care. He doesn't care about the team. He quit on his team yesterday. He walked away during the middle of the game. I heard somebody say on TV that he quit on himself. Maybe. But ultimately, my man is just, he's out there. And he's been out there for a while. So let's go over the little Antonio Brown timeline we have. We saw that, of course, he was benched in week 17 of 2018 when he was with the Philadelphia, when he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Remember, he went on Facebook Live while Mike Tomlin was talking, and Mike Tomlin was caught on camera saying some unfavorable things about the New England Patriots. That's where it first started off with the media. And that's where we first started hearing his transgressions. Then he gets traded to the Raiders. Okay, he shows up to, first of all, he can't show up to Raiders practice because he burned his feet off with cryotherapy, whatever the heck that was. We all found out what cryotherapy is if we're not in that the athletic world right now, because this is some new stuff that that these athletes are doing. He froze his damn feet off. He couldn't practice. When he finally could practice, I believe he arrived at training camp and on Hard Knocks on a damn hot air balloon. Like, my man is all about himself. Okay, and then he gets into it with Mike Mayock. Then he doesn't want to wear the helmet that he's been given from the Raiders. Then he gets released after an Instagram post that he went on and asking to be released. Then he signs with the Patriots. Then the Patriots hear about his sexual misconduct accusation, number one. And then they hear about sexual misconduct accusation, number two. Then he goes out and says some unfavorable things about Robert Kraft on Twitter, online. And he's promptly released by the Patriots after a couple of games. So takes a little break. Tom Brady goes down to Tampa. Tom Brady lets them know, hey, I want my guys. I will bring in Gronk, bring in AB. And what do? They make Tom Brady happy. They win a Super Bowl. It seemed like it was a great move until this season. And, he was a model citizen, according to a lot of the players, a lot of the coaches, a lot of the media that are around the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And he was doing his thing. But this year, when we have the vaccinations requirements that the NFL put, he gave them a fake vaccination card. Now, I am vaccinated and boosted. Hopefully you are too. He says that he is actually vaccinated, but he gave the card, the fake card, earlier. So we don't know if he's vaccinated or not. We don't know if anybody's vaccinated or not walking around. And there are people out there slinging these vaccination cards like drugs. People can find them on every corner. Okay? So there's other players in the NFL that have submitted fake vaccination cards that we haven't found out about that we're not upset about. So I don't think that that's the biggest issue. I just think that this is another thing that Antonio Brown does. Okay. And the Bucs knew that when they signed him. And then, of course, this blow up that happens on the sidelines yesterday. So here we are today. We sit here. Antonio Brown, after the game, Bruce Arians was asked about him. He says that he is no longer a Buccaneer. Tom Brady was asked about Antonio Brown. He says, we all love him. We care about him deeply. We want to see him be at his best. And unfortunately, it won't be with our team. Everyone should be compassionate and empathetic to difficult things that are happening. Now, we don't know what's going on in his life. We know that he has a lot of stuff going on off the field. And we know that he's a crazy dude. And we may not know if it's CTE. We don't know if it's EGO. But whatever it is, I don't know if it's ever going to be in the NFL ever again, to stick with the acronym themes. So it'll be interesting to see. Now, a lot of people think he'll never play in the NFL again. I, for one, believe that he will probably get another shot. I think that people will sweep it under the rug. There's going to be some coach out there that feels like he can take Antonio Brown's talent, get the most out of him, and also deal with the person and the brain that comes with signing Antonio Brown. But I believe that if I were a coach or NFL GM in this league, there's no way in hell I'm bringing him in. I don't give a damn what he brings to the table. This guy is all about himself, and he quit on his team. And it was embarrassing. It's something that we've never seen happen during the game. We've seen players quit. Vontae Davis a few years ago quit during halftime. We see Dennis Rodman quit on the Spurs. We saw people have outbursts on the sidelines. Odell Beckham Jr. has had multiple outbursts on the sidelines. He was fighting with the damn net. But to take off your damn jersey, your pads, walk off the field while players are on the field, albeit on the other side, they're on the field still. For him to walk off the field like that was just a damn clown show. And his name is not Antonio Brown. It is Antonio Clown. Okay? Look at my man's college picture. I mean, this is really where it started. NBC. This game was on NBC, clearly. Clearly, this is a bowl game because Central Michigan will not be on NBC on any given day. They're not Notre Dame. But clearly, this is a bowl game. But for him to take a picture with his gold bottoms in and to show like that, without a haircut, by the way, it's just ridiculous. Get an edge up, my man. But no, my bold prediction is if he does play in the NFL again, it'll be with the Chiefs. Because the Chiefs seem like they're always picking up. Andy Reid seems like he's always picking somebody up and and trying to make it work. Hell, they got Le'Veon Bell on the team right now, on the Bucs right now. So the Bucs and the Chiefs, they have been picking up players after players after players. And the Chiefs picked up Le'Veon Bell before the Bucs did. The Bucs probably will pick up. The Bucs picked up Antonio Brown, and I assume that if there is one team out there that picks up Antonio Brown, it'll be the Chiefs. But I really don't see him playing in this league again. Shout out to my man Sean McNeil. He's probably laughing at at this picture right here, which is ridiculous. My man needs an edge up for real. All right, so let's talk about the game. Actually, now let's not talk about Antonio Brown anymore. The Buccaneers played against the Jets. The Buccaneers were down a lot of this game. They were down by 2 touchdowns twice. They ended up coming back. And at the end of the day, what does my man Tom Brady do? He does exactly what he always does. In the fourth quarter, when the game is on the line, Tom Brady will win the game for you. And that's exactly what he did. Now, he had to rely on Gronkowski a lot more than he has all season long. 7 catches for 115 yards. And Gronkowski is good for that. He can easily go, him and Tom Brady, the chemistry that they have is very similar to the chemistry that Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers have, or let's say Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. I mean, they just have that chemistry. They know what's going to happen. If Gronk needs to run a hot route for Brady, they already know. It's like they're on the same wavelength, the same frequency. So, he had to rely heavily on Gronkowski yesterday, and Tom Brady was able to bring them back down all the way down the field on a 93-yard drive with no timeouts left. And he ends up hitting Cyril Grayson for the game-winning touchdown, which was a beautiful route that we saw. And he had 6 catches for 81 yards and that final touchdown to win the game. And it was just so amazing to know that after everything that has happened on that sideline, Tom Brady was able to compartmentalize and to bring that game out and pull that game out and win for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it was very symbolic when you saw him sitting after he throws the touchdown. There's 15 seconds on the clock They're kicking the extra point, and you see Byron Leftwich run over there, grab Tom Brady. Tom Brady kind of gives him a half-ass, a one cheek dap, and then Byron Leftwich says no and pulls him up and gives him a hug and lets him know that he's the greatest of all time. And it doesn't matter what weapons he has or what issues there are going on the sidelines. Tom Brady's going to get the job done. So shout out to Tom Brady for handling it like a professional, for being the one that brought Antonio Brown into the fold, let him live in his house, and has to be the one that eats crow when he's kicked out of town. Tom Brady's just great, man. But on the other side, the Jets, I thought the Jets put up a really good performance for a team that has struggled. You see their record is they're 4-12. They don't look like a playoff contending team. Even if they had a better record, they look terrible. They don't have a lot of weapons. I believe their best weapons to throw to are Kenny Yeboah, Braxton Berrios, who I love, and Keelan Cole. So that's not the guys that they came in with thinking that was going to be their receiving core to start the season. They've had some injury issues. Zach Wilson looked pretty good yesterday. He looked like he could play in this league yesterday. 19 of 33, 234 yards, a touchdown, but no interceptions. He ran for a little bit, but the thing that I noticed about him the most yesterday was he was very accurate, and he looked pretty good. He looked damn good, as a matter of fact. So the Jets might have found their quarterback. They just need to find some weapons for him, and they might not have the head coach that is going to be there for the long term. So we'll see. But the Jets put up a good performance against a very good team, and I think that there's a lot to be hopeful for in New York. This is Go Long Live. I am Barry Long II, not the first, not the third. We are live on CoachellaValley.com, today'scalifornia.com. We are also live on today'scanada.com. Now, there were other games, and there were other things that happened in the NFL yesterday besides Antonio Brown and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning that game. Let's talk about the Bears and the Giants. Now, the Bears defeated the Giants 29-3, and this was a blowout win for the Bears. You feel bad for the Giants because they don't have their quarterback. Mike Glennon has been their quarterback the last 4 or 5 weeks, and even if they had Daniel Jones, they still wouldn't look good. They need a better O-line. They need a better defense. They need a better head coach, in my opinion. I am not a Joe Judge fan whatsoever. But, they're just out there. They're sending out, a terrible roster, depleted roster. And Mike Glennon, this is probably the worst stat line I've ever seen from a quarterback. 4 for 11, 24 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 picks. I mean, Mike Glennon played terrible yesterday. Saquon Barkley, they haven't had a great running game all season long with Saquon either healthy or banged up. Seems like he just can't get off behind that O-line. But yesterday he did. He got over 100 yards, 21 carries for 102 yards. And he looked okay. But they're going to have to figure out this quarterback position. They're going to have to figure out this head coaching situation because we heard that earlier last week, we heard that they were going to be retaining Joe Judge and retaining Daniel Jones and seeing if they're going to, go at it for one more run. And I'm just not in favor of either one of those guys being with the proud franchise that is the New York Giants. So we'll see. I believe that their stance might change after yesterday, and I believe it might even change after next week, but we'll see. When Black Monday comes around, the day that all coaches get fired or that are on the hot seat, we'll see if Joe Judge is retained. But the Bears look damn good, and he's another coach on the Chicago Bears, Matt Nagy. He's a guy that will probably not be there after Black Monday. But Andy Dalton looked pretty good. He went 18 to 35, 173 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And Montgomery, the running back, threw an interception. And this is why I hate trick plays, okay? Because this is my fear. The one time that you do a trick play and you, let's say, they give the ball to Odell Beckham on the reverse and Odell Beckham drops back the pass, or Jarvis Landry. I always fear that these skill position players are going to throw an interception. That's exactly what happened to David Montgomery yesterday. Now, he did run the ball well. He had 2 touchdowns on the ground, but he threw an interception. It was ugly, and that is the reason why all NFL teams should stay away from running trick plays, unless you have a wide receiver like Julian Edelman, who was a college quarterback, who knows how to throw the ball, who can read coverages, who has ball placement skills. But yeah, that's always my biggest fear with these trick plays. But other than that, yeah, the Bears did look good. Andy Dalton, I don't know if Justin Fields is the guy. I think Andy Dalton has played better than him this year. And under considering the circumstances, Nick Foles has played better when he's been in the game than Justin Fields. So Justin Fields is a rookie. We'll see. They still have a couple years to figure out whether or not he's their guy moving forward. But Andy Dalton looks like he should be the Jimmy Garoppolo to Justin Fields, Trey Lance, if you will. So Andy Dalton, he looked better than Justin Fields. It is what it is this season. So we'll see. But Justin Fields is a rookie, and maybe he'll be their guy. All right, now we saw a really good game yesterday between the Raiders and the Colts. This one went down to the wire. Set up a huge matchup next week between the Las Vegas Raiders. I had to get this right because it used to be between the Oakland Raiders and the San Diego Chargers, but it's between the Las Vegas Raiders and the Los Angeles Chargers. Okay, it's just so weird. It's just so surreal to all the NFL fans out there. But this set up a traditional rivalry game that a playoff matchup is on the line. Playoff berth is on the line, and it's going to be an exciting game next week. Now, Derek Carr did his thing, 24-31, 255 yards. He did throw 2 picks. And Derek Carr's a guy that can play out of his mind at times. And then other times, Derek Carr can give the game away. He did not give the game away. And Josh Jacobs gave them a great contribution with the running game. 16 touches for 63 yards. I felt that Marcus Mariota came in and really extended a couple of those drives, came in on a couple of 4th downs. And got the first down, came on 3rd and short, got the first down, 3 carries for 16 yards, but they were 16 huge yards. And I couldn't help but think to myself while I'm watching Mariota do that and get so fired up after a first down because he did his job, okay? He's the backup quarterback. You come in for one play, do your job. That's all we ask from you, okay? Put the headset on, learn from the guy, and then do your job if we ever need you. That's what he did. But I couldn't help but think to myself, man, Marcus Mariota, man, this guy was great in college. This guy was pretty good for Tennessee when he was their starting quarterback. And now he's just this backup for the Raiders. I couldn't help but think to myself, man, there's some teams out there that could use a Marcus Mariota. If you remember Marcus Mariota back in the day in college, I mean, my man, he could throw, he could run, he could do it all. And he had poise, he was charismatic. The kind of guy that you would want to lead your franchise. So I hope that Marcus Mariota does get an opportunity to start again in this league. He still can run. He still can move. And yeah, I thought he stepped up big for them yesterday in key moments. Zay Jones played out of his mind. 8 catches for 120 yards. Hunter Renfrow had 7 touches for 76 yards and a huge catch for the 7th one near the end of that game that really sealed the deal for the Raiders. And the Colts on the other side, they didn't really throw the ball that much. Their recipe for winning games is running the football, controlling the pace, controlling that clock, and then letting their defense seal the deal. And they couldn't yesterday. And Carson Wentz only threw it for 27 times for 16 completions, 148 yards. He had 1 touchdown, no interceptions. He played a pretty flawless game. He did have some big misses where he had guys wide open and missed them. So, some throws that he liked to have back that really could have won that game for them. But Jonathan Taylor did what he did, 108 yards in a touchdown. He's probably going to finish, not probably, he will finish as the leading rusher. He'll get the rushing title this season. But the Colts, they cannot win the division. They cannot win the AFC South now, but they do still have a shot to make it and go all the way. Now, with Carson Wentz, we don't know because Carson Wentz has traditionally been the guy who does not protect the football in big games. We'll see. We will definitely see. But shout out to the Raiders for putting themselves in a position to be able to go to the playoffs despite everything that franchise has been through with the John Gruden situation, with Henry Ruggs situation, with John Madden passing away. Just a franchise that keeps on fighting. And if you're a Raider fan, you should be proud of what your Raiders accomplished yesterday. And with the Chargers, the way they've been playing lately, I think that you have a very, very good chance of winning that game and going into the playoffs. So we will see. But I am definitely rooting for the Raiders next week because they've just been through a lot. And, John Madden's my guy. And Derek Carr has been through ups and downs this season. Deshaun Jackson's on that team. I love Hunter Renfrow. I just love what that franchise is right now. And it just they deserve some kind of good fortune. All right, I am Barry Long the second. Not the first, not the third. We are live on CoachellaValley.com. We are live all over Twitter. Shout out to Sean McNeil, who commented earlier. Shout out to Ann Seegersma, who commented earlier. And shout out to Craig Campbell. Thank you so much for the platform. We appreciate it. All right, now we are still talking about NFL games. We got about 5 minutes left. So let's get into the games that we can get into. Now, this game right here, the Bengals versus the Chiefs, I was so impressed with what the Bengals were able to do against the Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs did get up early in this game. They got up early, 4 touchdowns, or they got up early. They scored 4 touchdowns on the first 4 drives. They were up 28-14. And basically what they were able to do, the Bengals, what they were able to do is they were able to just balance and come at them with the craziest passing game you have seen this season. Joe Burrow looks like he could have been the MVP if he would have played the way he's been playing the last couple of weeks all season long. Now, we know Aaron Rodgers is probably going to be our MVP, but Joe Burrow does it again. 30 completions for 39, 446 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. And the biggest story of the day for the Cincinnati Bengals was Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase set a Bengals team single-season game receiving record with 11 catches for 266 yards. Yes, I said it, 266 yards and 3 touchdowns. So just an amazing performance by that offense. I mean, there were so many good catches that Jamar Chase made yesterday. Back shoulder catches, over the middle, down the sideline. I mean, my man can do it all. And Joe Burrow said it himself after the game that sometimes he just throws it up there and expects Jamar to go get it. And Jamar is quickly becoming one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Excuse me. And this is not something that we all predicted when him coming out of college. Now, we knew that he had the chemistry with Joe Burrow from college. Both were on LSU. Both were on that national championship team that beat Clemson. Now, we knew that he was fast as hell. We knew he was a great talent. But in the preseason, he had a couple of drops, and he was being criticized heavily about those drops and saying that maybe he shouldn't have gone as high as he should have in the draft. When after that performance, I think everybody that said that needs to shut the hell up. My man is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. And he continues to prove it week after week with some of these amazing catches, some of the crazy timing plays that these guys have between him and Joe Burrow. They're on the same page. They're on the same frequency. Both their third eyes open, whatever you want to say. Both these guys are right there, hand in hand, step by step, and they look like an amazing duo. And they just dominate. It's what they do. Now, the Bengals, they converted on a 3rd and 27. They converted on a couple of other 3rd and longs, and they just were able to pull out a tough victory. And this is something that the Bengals have been criticized for the past few years that they've been great. Every time that they've ever been good, even when Marvin Lewis was their head coach, we always thought, man, as soon as they get to the playoffs, they can't beat anybody for real. They're not real. They're not serious. They're not contenders. This year it feels a little different. Now, they won the AFC North for the first time since 2015. And me, as a Raven fan, I know a lot about the Bengals. And this is a different Bengals team. Now, the defense, they're going to have some issues maybe moving forward in the playoffs by giving up a lot of points the way that they have in a couple of these games. They gave up 31 yesterday to the Chiefs. But they're able to make halftime adjustments. They're able to stay in games. And Joe Burrow is able to put points up on the board quickly and get them back in the games that they've been out of early. Now, Patrick Mahomes, he went 26-35 for 259 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Mahomes looks like Mahomes again. I mean, he's throwing from weird body angles, contorting his body backwards, throwing against the wind, against his own body. I mean, he throwing curve balls, side balls, just sidearm, just doing whatever he wants to do. Patrick Mahomes is accurate again. He's making better decisions than he was earlier in the season. And the Chiefs look like a team that really can still hang. And I think this game is more about the Bengals being ready and being on that level than it is about the Chiefs, being inconsistent. Mahomes, he's out there hitting different guys, Tyreek Hill, Byron Pringle, McCole Hardman, Travis Kelce. They've got weapons all over the place. So this team is still going to be one of the top teams that will be there in the end, the Chiefs. But I think that the Bengals are ready and they're for real this year. So look out for the Bengals. All right. So we don't have much time left. Just wanted to thank everybody real quick for tuning in. And I did want to leave y'all and show y'all this clip. Now, it's not the meme of the day, but this is a clip of after the victory, and we will talk about this game tomorrow. The Washington football team loses at FedEx Field at home to the Philadelphia Eagles in a tight game. The Eagles look like they're playoff bound, and they look like they might make some noise with that defense and with that running game. But as Jalen Hurts, who just won the game, is running off the field, here's what happened as a bunch of Philadelphia Eagles fans try to lean over and argue back. The railing breaks. Oh, God. So, yeah, a crazy scene. I'll show it to you one more time. The railing breaks. Just a crazy scene. Thank God nobody was hurt. Jalen and those people got pictures. I leaned over one time when I went to a Ravens game, and I was trying to get a picture with Ed Dixon. That's how long ago it was. This is like 2010 maybe. And I leaned over, and I fell, and then hit my lip and busted it on the chair in front of me because there was a smaller area in front of me. And then when I got up, Ed Dixon was like, I heard him say, my last picture, when he was taking a picture with somebody. As I'm getting up, he said, no, never mind. That's my last picture. So Ed Dixon and I have a picture, and yeah, I have a little cut on my lip. I'll play that for you guys. I'll show that for you guys tomorrow's show. But we want to thank everybody for tuning in, everybody for commenting. Remember, you could go find me on Twitter at Radio Barry Long or on IG at BarryLong_2. We are also on IG as a show, Go_Long_Live. Thank you to everybody. Stay focused, stay motivated, stay inspired. Enjoy Monday Night Football tonight, and we will talk about the games tomorrow. Peace.